Well, let's get started. What do you say? I've been looking all day for that knucklehead by the name of O'Neill, and there he is. So, welcome to the program, everyone. Program? It's not a program. It's a discussion. It's a visit. But there's nobody there.
You're right. Give everybody. Have you turned it on?
I guess.
What does that say? Live?
It says live. So there's nobody watching. Nobody cares. If you don't care, I don't care. Well, there's somebody, you know.
There you go.
Yeah, there's somebody.
I haven't had a notification.
Well, I'm glad anyway. I've been looking all day for O'Neill. I said that on the site earlier, and I found him. And we've had a productive day. And as we proceed and get a few people, I'd like to tell you a little bit of something that's pretty good. So let's start with a story. What do you say? I'm going to tell you a story about a couple of, a story about a couple of youngsters, really. Couple of teenagers, probably about 13 years old, 14, something like that, maybe 15. I don't know, but they didn't work at the grocery store in the summertime. They basically went fishing, and in the springtime they fished. They went to the little dollar lakes around in DeKalb County. There was one called Parker's Pond. That's where the following took place. And on Saturdays in the summertime, and many times in the spring also, after baseball was over, one parent would take them to the pond, and another parent would pick them up in the afternoon. So they spent all Saturday fishing. And they loved it, and they were really good at it, too. They found out. And what they found out was you could pay $1 to go fishing in Parker's Pond. There were 2 ponds there. And you keep all you want. It's basically catfish and carp, really. And they discovered, these 2 little guys, that if you went to the grocery store and you bought cans of corn, Green Giant for want of a better description, and take cans of corn and you throw the corn out in front of where you're fishing, scatter it out, get to the lake early and scatter the corn out all around where you're fishing, that it didn't take long, because carp and catfish are scent feeders. Catfish has what's called barbels, not barbells, barbels like this. And that's how he finds food. Yes, ma'am.
Straighten the camera up just a bit. You're not.
I'm not.
Exactly.
Well, hold on. What am I,
Well,
crooked?
Yeah, well, you're too much to one side, actually.
Well, I want you to see the fire.
Well, okay. Then you got your wish.
Okay, there. How about that? Is that better?
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay.
Thank you.
Where was I? Oh, because they're scent feeders and bottom feeders, it didn't take long after those 2 little kids got there, 2 teenage boys, that, man, the fish in front of them, where they were just, racking it up. Put forked sticks out. I think they probably put out 6 or 8 forked sticks, and put their Zebco 202s and Zebco 33s and maybe Johnson Centuries, and they would throw out and on the bottom with cans with corn. And one of the 2 guys would, and this didn't happen every time, but it was the substance of the story. One of the 2 guys would, after the lake got busy with people, because it was popular, one of the 2 guys would just walk around the pond, and anybody that might be fishing would, express, good morning, and hey, if you need any fish before you leave this afternoon, if you'd like to have some fish, if you need a few, then my those two little kids across the way there, they would probably have some and they would sell them to you. And of course, most people were very nice, fishermen are, and they would say, oh, we'll catch our own, but thank you very much. We'll catch our own. And they'd be having cane poles out there and some rod and reels. Some of them weren't so nice. Occasionally, get away from here, you little punk. I'll catch my own fish.
Not very nice.
Well, that's okay. And it's kind of funny, but because by the end of the day, it happened more than once that person who said he would catch his own would be standing behind the two little 13-year-olds, and they would be saying, "Hey, I'll take the next one," for a quarter. And these two little guys would sell fish for a quarter or 50 cents, according to the size, and often they would make $7 or $8 during the day. So they went fishing and made money doing it. So it was kind of an interesting little gig, really. It beat going to the grocery store and bagging groceries and going out, putting them in people's cars for tips. I think it did. Anyway, one of those two guys, he went to school and he spent most of his life as a manufacturer's rep for Browning Arms. Fished all over the world and hunted all over the world. His name was Rick Hobbins, or Jeff Hobbins. His name is Jeffrey Merrick Hobbins. People called him Rick, and called him a lot of other things too, I think. And anyway, and the other kid, well, you know what I've done for a living most of my life. And so from selling our fish on a Saturday at the local catfish pond, I guess he retired from Browning, and I still kind of at this. I guess you could say that after all these years, 65 years later, we're still selling our catch, so to speak. That's Rick and O'Neill, and that's my story for the day. And that is one of the stories in O'Neill Outside, people and places along the way. Before you have a question.
I don't have a question.
Oh, what?
I was just saying, everybody that hadn't heard that story before, raise your hand.
Well, I don't have very many stories to tell, and
Well,
I was looking for the guy.
though.
Pardon
That's
me?
important. That's the way that keeps kids, encourages them to get outside and not be sitting in front of one of these telephones
Yes.
or a computer or those bang up, shoot 'em up video games.
That's right.
Get them outside.
I got to tell you, we had some wonderful Saturdays fishing for a living, and
Yes.
so to speak, to make our spending money. And we made $7 or $8 a day.
That's a good bit,
Yeah, that was back in 1957.
Yeah, and just think, if you were bagging groceries and taking them out, you might have gotten a quarter back then
Yeah.
if you were lucky.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I was about to say something. Oh,
Sorry.
if you're a local guy, if you'll visit Beaver Toyota, it's one of those high-dollar, fancy, upscale Toyota dealerships in Cumming, Georgia. They have O'Neill Outside books there in the lobby and in the service department. They're $20 each, and they're all signed. So what? Aha! Here's the gig, okay? For every $20, you get a book. Then Beaver donates all of the $20 to the Children's Fishing Classic to be held this fall at Lake Lanier. Your $20 goes to support a fishing tournament for children. It's worthwhile. Go buy several of them. Give them away to your bass fishing buddies, and all the money goes to this fishing classic for children. Okay, but that's the story in the book. Yes, ma'am. Gail is with me, and she's telling me things.
What else is new? Okay. Someone mentioned, and we have not thought about him for a long time. He was a wonderful friend, which reminds me about another wonderful friend. Don't let me forget. But his name is Kelton. Wants to know about you and Garfield when you were on the Hummingbird. You were both on the Hummingbird Pro staff. Garfield.
Oh,
Remember him?
yeah, I remember Garfield. Garfield
Yeah.
is not with us any longer, I'm sorry to say. He was a heck of a fisherman and an interesting fellow, okay? We called him Garfield because he looked like he was redheaded and he had red hair and a round face and he wore glasses and he looked like Garfield the cat.
He did.
Yes, he did. So
And he was
we called him Garfield. And maybe I'll wait till next year because I've got a great story about Garfield.
Well, you need to put him in the next book.
I do, don't I? I'm
Yes.
writing a second book, okay? I just can't quit. So I'll write about Garfield.
Make a note.
Remind me, will you please? Go to O'Neill Outside Facebook page. Remind me I'm writing a second book, and in that book, I need to have the story about Garfield. All right, and who else were you going to say?
I was going to mention, I thought about earlier today, and
Yes.
I failed to tell you that 10 years ago today,
Uh-oh.
we lost our wonderful friend, wonderful Al Brooks. Probably your
yeah.
favorite person ever.
Yes. Al Brooks, we called him AB, called him a lot of things, but we called him AB. And I guess he was a terrific fisherman, tournament fisherman, and he was the one guy that I ever knew that was always in a tournament. He was just as happy with you catching the fish as it was if he was catching the fish.
Yes.
That was and I guess the ultimate compliment from O'Neill and Gail was every time. Years ago, we lived in a home in Snellville, Georgia, and we had a pool, and it was out in the kind of countryside on a dirt road, and we had a lot of parties and things.
Barbecues for
Barbecues for
advertisers and
sponsors. We were much more active and a lot younger, okay? Every time we made a guest list, I guess is the greatest compliment. One of the good compliments about Al was his name was the first one.
That, along with the fact that when your daughters got married and we started making a list, Al was always the first person.
Oh, yeah. You ever made a list for a party or a wedding or anything, Al was first.
And Allison just reminded me that he sure could dance.
Oh, Al was, he wasn't shaped like a dancer, okay? But he could. He took ballet when he was young, and he was an accomplished dancer. And fabulous. Okay. Let's see, a couple of things I wanted to talk
My
about
brother
today.
says he can't hear me. I wonder if that's the first time ever.
Okay, you need to get. Okay.
I'll get closer.
All right. You want to be a better fisherman? Don't we? Go. Go as often as you can. Go in the winter. Go in the spring. Go in the summer. Take different people. Go with different people. Go. If you don't go fishing and stay in touch with it, you cannot get to be a better fisherman. And you should keep a log. The last time it was April the 10th. The water temperature was 74 degrees. I went up so-and-so creek. We fished on the first bend to the right. You see what I mean? Keep your own log, and it will make you a better fisherman. Want to be a better hunter? Oh, we got turkey season coming up. Want to be a better turkey hunter? Go. You have to go over and over and over. Read about it. Study about it. Understand the call. Understand when you hear the call. Now, what does that mean? I'll give you a little example. I was very fortunate. I got to go with a fellow by the name of Roscoe Reams, and he was the best turkey hunter I've ever been with. We were hunting, and Roscoe timed the calls. Okay, we're behind we just built a little blind of sticks and pine boughs, and he called and he got an answer. He turned to me. I think I've told this before.
You might have.
He turned to me and said,
Okay.
"He's on the limb."
Don't whisper it. Go ahead and say it out.
He's on the limb. So just quietly we sat there. 10 minutes later, Roscoe calls. Answer. He's on the ground. Minutes later, call. There he is. Yes, indeed. He called 3 times. That was usually his limit. 3 times. And so how did I learn that? By going with Roscoe. You got to go and you got to understand it. And I guess overall temptation is for you to call way too much, way too loud, okay? Do this when you go sometime this spring, okay? Limit yourself to 3 calls. See how you do. Yes, ma'am. Oh, you don't have anything?
No,
okay.
But are you saying that you should also keep a diary or a log for turkey hunting, deer hunting?
You need to keep a log, or there's 2 reasons for you to keep a log: for it to educate yourself, because this is the great thing about outdoors and being on television and radio and all that kind of stuff. Outdoors is always the same. It doesn't change. The fish don't know where they live. They will react the same way under the same water conditions, the same acidity, the same water color, the same water temperature, the same bait levels. They do the same thing. They don't know any better. Same thing for turkeys, same thing for deer. It's always over and over and over and over again. And you can benefit by writing it all down. And when you get old, you can remember it and read about it and read about it
Again.
in book.
Yeah.
You can write a book. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Al Bassett said that logs are the best thing to do on fishing, and it's free.
Yes. Terrific. Now, Al is an accomplished guy. I'm not sure he's still a guide, but I've fished with Al Bassett on Lake Oconee lots of times. And see, he lived on the lake. He spent so much time on the water. He understood it. This wasn't a mystery to Al and other people like him. He didn't say, I wonder what we're going to do today. No. He knew what he was going to do today. He knew where the fish were going to be, because under those similar conditions the previous year, they were there then too. That's the way it works, over and over and over again. Yes, ma'am. What?
I don't know whether we need to go into this or not, but David Cargile says, I will remind you of a couple of stories you can tell. One was involving falling out of the boat, one from Lanier, and one from Venezuela. So I don't know where you want to go.
David, I've fallen out of the boat so many times I don't remember which one you're talking about.
And Al Bassett says he still does guide.
Oh, Al, look him up. Al Bassett. Sugar Creek Marina probably would know where to find Al. And it's almost time. It's February, full moon in February. The crap you're going to get shallow as soon as when the days get longer, like now, the water temperature rises just a little bit, they'll head for the shallows. And Al will catch 100 a day for you, with you. And he'll show you all about it. Yes, ma'am. I don't remember about falling out of the boat with Carl. I've fallen out so many times.
I don't know that he's talking about with him.
Oh.
Maybe it was just when you fell out of the boat and remember, Al was the one that practically, he rescued you, basically. you fell out of the boat. It was real cold. And
Oh.
you got back in the boat, and you got back to the marina, and
yeah.
you were seeing things. And Al met you at the
No, that was
at the
Hobbins
dock.
who met me. Yeah, he met me at the dock. I
Yeah.
was at a March tournament years ago at Sinclair, and it was during one of those southeastern March sleet in snowstorms, and I was practicing for the tournament the day prior. And I was up in a place called Potato Creek, shallow stump field Potato Creek. And back then, you didn't use a foot control motor. You just put your foot on top of the trolling motor and directed the trolling motor. Trolling motor stayed on all the time. And so I'm fishing and I'm by myself and I got a big snowmobile suit on and everything. And the water's shallow in the back of Potato Creek. I figured I could find a couple of pretty good, I didn't need to get but about 3 bites. But I'm practicing back there to see if there might be a few largemouth back there. And I hit a stump and went over the side. Water temperature's in the 40s. I'm sure, maybe more. Air temperature was like 18, 20 degrees. It was sleeting, and I fell out of the boat. And it was shallow enough that it was only about chest deep, and I climbed up over the engine. Well, see, the trolling motor was on. Here's something. The trolling motor was still running when I went over the side. So the boat's getting away, and back then, even probably now too, there's an eyelet on the back next to the engine off the transom for you. It's a tie spot. And I ran my finger through that little tie spot. And it kept the boat from getting too far away from me. And I climbed up over the engine, got back in the boat. I started to stick around and fish, but in a few minutes I started getting cold because I was soaked from, the chest down. I was wet. So I said, well, I need to get back to the marina. And I headed back into Little River. And the air swirling around me. And I started, I guess, what do you call it?
Hallucinating.
Well, I was hallucinating for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was cold.
You saw bats.
Yeah, I would see things, and I would duck. I was driving back, and I would see things, and I would duck. And I ran into Rick Hobbins on the way, and he followed me back because I stopped and said, you need to follow me back. I'm not in good shape. So he followed me back to the marina, and Al looked after me, took my boat, backed the trailer in, and took me to the hotel.
Yeah.
The local hotel.
Got you warm.
Yeah. Do what?
Got you. He got you warm.
Yeah, he sure did. Man, oh man. I forgot about that. That was touch and go there for a couple of minutes. Had I not been able to get the boat with my finger. Yes.
I never knew that.
I didn't. The boat was leaving me?
Well, I knew that the boat was moving, but I never knew that you grabbed onto the little hook thing.
Yeah.
I never knew. Why didn't you tell me that?
I don't know. I got mixed up.
Confused. Okay.
Okay. What? Yes.
And then there's also someone else mentioned there's a time when you might have forgotten to put the plug in the boat. When you're tournament fishing, you have to remember these things.
Yeah, we were tournament fishing at Lanier up at way up the Chattahoochee River. There's a big dock, a big ramp there, you double ramp, and it was a tournament there, and that was when you used to draw partners. And awfully accommodating fellow, and I can't remember his name. I wish I could.
I bet he remembers you.
Yeah, and so put the boat in, and I go out, and it wasn't, but we're still kind of, it's a tournament, so we're paddling around there, waiting for everybody to get in for the blast off, and I look down, and the boat's filling up with water because I forgot to put the plug in. And the funny part of that was, he says, we're going down.
Well, you were.
And he grabbed a life preserver, and he put it on upside down. The life preserver, was under, anyway. But I kind of, boats were being put in, and I motored over and shouted rather aggressively for the guy who just took the boat off, stay there. And I ran my boat up on his trailer. And he pulled me out and we drained the boat and I put the plug in. Okay. Where'd all this come from? I don't know.
I don't
this
know.
is supposed to be
People
educational,
that,
isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Good time to go to the woods and start looking for sheds. Good reason to take a child into the woods is to look for sheds. Okay, now, whether you find any or not, doesn't matter. Well, it matters a little, but it's the two of you in the woods looking for deer antlers. And if you find one, you'll probably find two that come off almost exactly the same time. What are you laughing at?
Okay.
Uh-oh. Is this bad?
No. David Cargile says, yeah, it was in January at Lanier, and you had a trolling motor with an on-off pedal in the floor. Mm-hmm. The motor was running, was turned at 90 degrees, and you turned it and accidentally stepped on the button, and did a classic dive. Amazing thing was you went underwater, but you came up with your hat and sunglasses still on.
Yeah, I did.
He said, I gave you a 5 for execution and a 10 for style. So,
well,
there
he's
you go.
that's my friend David Cargile, and he's being awfully kind. I think the dive was 9.5 or something like that. It was pretty good, but I kept my glasses and the hat on. I think his son was with us that day, Chris Cargile.
Yeah, it could have been.
Could have been. Okay.
Anyway, that's just some good stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what it's all about. When
Listen,
you
let
think
me tell
about
you
it,
something.
It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be so serious.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yes. Tournament bass fishing was wonderful. I enjoyed it, but I went often. And the upcoming tournament, I fished the Friday and Saturday and Sunday prior to the next weekend, and so I got a lot of good fishing time in. And goes back to my declaration: you want to be a better fisherman, then go a lot. And if you're not familiar with the lake, hire a guide. He will tell you, but you need to tell him up front. I'm hiring you today for you to teach me how to fish this lake this time of year and take me to the places that will catch them in April and June and August and go book him more than once. Book him 2 or 3 times. You'll learn more from an accomplished, informative guide on a lake all over the country in 3 or 4 trips than you will if you fish that lake by yourself for 20 years. That's an exaggeration. 10 years. Okay. All right. This is O'Neill, and I located the little rascal. And I do tell the stories over and over again. I'm kind of running out, really, but the book is full of them. So I've got something written down here.
People could always send us messages if they have questions they want to ask.
Yes.
And and we don't get to them on here.
If you like it, if it's not occurring during the time that we're on right now, if you have messages, criticism, advice, whatever, you can go to O'Neill Outside at. Is it already 30 minutes?
And
Oh my goodness!
the clock on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need to make this longer?
I don't know. It's up to you. That's up to you. You want to make it? You want to go for 45 minutes instead of 30? I don't know. Maybe it'll depend on the day. Maybe we'll do 30 minutes some days, and then if things are going good, we'll do 40 minutes.
Okay.
How's that?
All right.
What do you think about that?
Well, it just seems like the 30.
It
that
goes
we're really
fast.
getting into it.
Yeah, I agree.
By 30 minutes and getting into the advisement, if you will. And
the flames are going down. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to.
I don't know. I don't know if you're.
I mean, I repeat
Rusty,
myself anyway, so what the
Yeah,
heck?
Rusty says do an hour. Well, you
Oh.
come up here and help us, darling.
Dude, I say do it out.
Yeah. 45 sounds good. Okay, that's good.
All right.
Okay.
Well, you know, if you have
Allison
some,
says he needs to talk longer. Well, he talks a lot already. Let's see.
I'm always
Yeah.
willing to talk some more, and my
Yeah.
only trouble is I repeat myself over and over again.
Well, you have to remember that everybody doesn't hear everything you say every time you say it.
Okay.
Have we not talked about that
No,
before?
I don't know.
No.
I will take this opportunity to invite you to watch O'Neill Outside television show. Maybe you've seen it. And visit O'Neill Outside website. And on that homepage, you can order the book, and I will sign it for you. My name's O'Neill, and so that's what I write in there. And I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
It's autographed, and if you want, when you order the book, if you'll tell me to whom I should make it, I'll send it to, Gail from O'Neill.
Oh, I
Or
don't
something
need one.
No, she's got one.
Yeah, I have.
You know something? I was looking for a book today to use on the show this afternoon.
Uh-huh.
You know how many of these I have?
How many?
One.
Oh, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. It's okay.
I took 50 of them today to Beaver Toyota. I'm going to tell that again. You mind?
No, but right after you tell me why you have never written a story about me.
I can't do that. This
Why?
story's ongoing. I've written about everybody, and a lot of people I haven't, but I can't write about Gail.
Why?
I just
You gonna
can't.
wait till I die and then write it?
Yeah, probably.
When I can't appreciate it?
Well,
Or maybe I don't want to hear it.
yeah, maybe so. That story's still going on. I can't do that yet.
And Rusty
I did
has
write about. I took you fishing.
that.
That's in the book.
Yeah.
What?
Rusty also says we could do a Johnny Mathis halftime show.
Oh. Okay.
I could do that.
Sure, absolutely.
Anybody got a great series we can watch? Because with COVID and all that stuff, we are out of things to watch. Lordy.
Gail and I live up with. I'm going to talk about Beaver first. Beaver
Go
Toyota
ahead.
first. Okay.
And I will stop.
Okay. All right. At Beaver Toyota at Cumming, Georgia, you can purchase O'Neill Outside in the lobby and the service department. You can purchase O'Neill Outside books signed for $20. That sounds like more than the site. It is. But Beaver Toyota is going to donate the entire $20 to the Children's Crappie Classic Tournament at Lake Lanier. So buy the book, $20, and all of the money goes to the Children's Classic for the food, for the prizes, and Beaver will have their little mascot beaver there, and boats and trucks and all kinds of stuff. So buy the book at Beaver Toyota. There's only 50. It's limited, 50 of them. They're not going to give them away, they're not going to give away $20 per book forever. There are 50 of these there, and that's it. So it'll make a $1,000 contribution to the tournament. Okay, what else am I talking about?
Let's see.
I need a drink.
Yeah, I'm
What?
sure. Baseball nickname Little Louie.
Must be Louis Aparicio.
I don't know.
Is that Henry?
That's Henry.
Little Louis?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Must
Little
be
Louie,
Louis
yeah.
Aparicio.
Yeah.
What do you think, Henry? Was that it? Little Louis? What did he say?
And I don't know. Allison says she hears the oven in the background.
Yeah.
Because that means dinner is
Dinner's
ready.
on the way. We're having pork chops tonight. And dinner's on the way.
Yeah.
Little Louis must be Louis Aparicio. Holy cow.
Yes, that is the answer.
Holy
Yes.
cow. He was a a broadcaster for the Yankees, and his exclamation when something fantastic happened was, "Holy cow." Last week we asked you, and I had a couple of people answer, about Oil Can. What was the guy named Oil Can? His name was Oil Can Boyd, Boyd. He was a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox for quite a while, and he was good. But here's something that's important for you to understand. He was a headhunter. Under the chin, he was very aggressive on the mound. And he got away with it because he was in the American League. He didn't have to come to bat. Had he been able to come to bat, he would be a little bit more careful about pitching inside. I'll bet. What do you think? I'll bet so. Anyway, I love that game, and I understand. I love to talk to people about that. And I love the fishing game. So, what should you do besides hiring a guide, besides going fishing often? What is the one thing that you can do, in my judgment, to catch more fish? Bass, stripers, spotted bass, crappie. You'll get more bites and catch more fish if you do this one thing and become good at it. Ready? Use lighter line. If you're a tournament professional like Davey Height and people like that, you can use 20 and 30 pound test line because you're good enough, you can feel that bite and you can catch them. What I'm telling you is, unless you are that guy, you're using 17, 20, 25 pound test line, you're getting bites, but you don't feel it. If you use light line, you'll get more bites and you will catch more fish. Will you break off? Of course. And that's the one you get to brag about. Man, I had a huge fish on, but he broke off. And to make that light line fishing easier for you, for the kids, you get a bottle, little squirt can, of Reel Magic. R-E-E-L, Magic. It relaxes the monofilament line. And make sure if you're taking children that the equipment works. They don't have patience for reels and rods and line that gets backlashed and twists and all that kind of stuff. Yes, ma'am. You got something? Yes, no?
Someone's, I don't
Okay.
know what this means.
Let's try.
Curiosity Stream have great show on that website. I have no idea what that
Curiosity Stream.
Yeah.
It must be something about television
means. I don't know.
or movies and so forth. We live up here. We live in the mountains of North Georgia near Amicalola State Park. It's that way about 2 miles, straight line. If you had to drive over there, it's 15 miles. And so we watch a lot of television and movies. We all do. I mean, let's face it. And we
have worn out all the movies we have ever watched.
Yes, and I, quite frankly, I'm becoming an outrageous snob. If it's not good, I won't watch it. I'll have criticism about it. If it's not well done, I'll turn it off and I'll go to something else. So
Just let me say, you're no fun to watch movies with. If it's something you're not wild about.
I'm no fun to watch movies with.
That's right.
That's what she just got through saying.
I just said that. I did.
Because if it's too loud, they overact, the lighting isn't good, the story makes no sense, then I get upset and walk away.
And when was your last Academy Award?
Well, I understand that, but that doesn't keep me from having my opinion.
Okay, say goodnight, Gracie.
Is
It's
it
time to go. It's time to go. Yeah, it's time to go.
It's time to go. Thanks for joining us. Go to O'Neill Outside, O'Neill Outside Television, website, Beaver Toyota for the book. Go to O'Neill Outside for the book, and I'll leave you with this. I, God Woodrow, it was quite a party. I'll see you next week.